All right, ladies and gents, today's perspective is going to be a education on something that a lot of you all probably have been curious of over the years, then maybe not, depending on how square you are. Someone asked me a few weeks ago, like, man, what's the difference between a pimp and a madam? I laughed. I'm like, what's the difference? Listen to the word, you know. Pimp means you dominate. I mean, you totally control. Madam, think about what madam is. Depending on the time period, you might open the door for a lady and be like, hi, excuse me, madam, would you like to sit down? So would you consider a madam, just the word madam alone, does that sound like you're being dominated? No, it doesn't. Pimp is at the top of the food chain when it comes to fleshly connoisseuring, human management. We're at the top of the food chain. Now, I knew quite a few madams, and they were good at what they did. But basically, two madams I actually put out there myself were two chicks that I pretty much put in retirement. Basically, a madam too old to sell pussy, and they played out and they just burn out. But because of the knowledge they have learned from what I like to refer to myself and guys in my former profession as street psychologists, because they have learned the game. They were once our bottom bitches. They know the lingo. They know the flow. They know how to lure in the tricks, so to speak. Most of them, they're not too savvy on the legal system. So what they like to do, back in the day, they set up bordellos and pretty much ran them. You call them, you know, hen houses or whatever, depending on what part of the land you're in. What they do now, and I'm referring to the madams, guys, ladies, they'll rent out a hotel or whatever, put in their name, and they'll just lure in the girls that's pretty much trying to get away from their pimp, or, you know, they done got, you know, too shallow on how to bring in the money like they're supposed to, and they'll feel this refuge, and the madam will just sit back and just collect. There's really not an art form to being a madam. You know, besides, you know, most women don't fear other women like that. Now, I know some madams that are pistol whip a hoe just as fast as a nigga would. But a lot of times they don't have to do that because they use a word that we never use, and a lot of times they compromise. You know, they have these hoes, you know, they bring them in thinking like, oh, I'm going to treat you better than in this house. You don't have to do this, this, and this. They lure them in like that. Whereas we, you know, we have to kind of court the situation. You know, we have to find out internally what's going on with your ass. You know, we have to figure out our angle. And once we figure out your weakness, then we exploit your weakness. We feed you and stab you at the same time. You know, that takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of cunning. It takes a lot of wit. It takes a lot of charm. It takes a lot of understanding mannerism. It takes a lot of understanding tone, understanding need or want, missing parts of social portions of one's life. This all comes from pimping. A madam doesn't offer that. Now, I think this was about the year 1999. I never personally met Big Lex, but Big Lex was a female by birth, and Brent Owens in his documentary Pimps Up, Pimps Hoes Down, you know, she was considered a female pimp. You know, Big Lex is cool and everything, but a pimp is really a man, you know, but for the most part, if you take anything from the understanding, a madam is pretty much just a burnt out bottom bitch who's trying to make money. She done got too old to sell pussy. And a pimp is a extraordinary gentleman. Some refer to him as a professional gentleman of leisure. It's all kind of other accolades about it. Cops try to use it all derogatory and stuff, but if you can pimp someone, that is the highest order in the book. Simple as that. So hopefully you got something from this knowledge that was blessed upon you. And the more you know, the more you grow. And the less she know, the more she'll hold. So if you're still in the game, keep that in mind.
Ooh, yeah, daddy.